everybody, and welcome back to the stream. It's Tuesday, and you know what that means? It's time for Perpetual Motion, the class where we never stop moving. It's also our first class of December, which is just, it's a thing. It's a thing, that's for dang sure. Wow. We are approaching the end of 2020, and I still don't know how it happened. Like, I feel like every year, you know, people get to December and they're like, oh man, the year went by so fast. And this year, I'm like, no, it didn't go by fast, but nor did it go by slowly, but nor did it go by at anything approximating a regular speed. So I don't know how we got here, and I'm a little confused. But somehow we got here. Somehow it's been, 9 months, I think, since I started doing these streams, or thereabouts. It'll be 9 months by the middle of December. It's been 6 months since we started doing the, really nice, regular 4-day-a-week schedule that we've had since the beginning of June, I think, is when I started that. And holy crap, it's just, yeah, it's just kind of mind-blowing. It's kind of mind-blowing. I feel like there's going to be a lot of introspection on these streams over the course of this month, because this has been a year that has tested many of us, and in good ways and bad, and there's a lot to parse, there's a lot to examine, there's a lot to figure out in terms of what we want to bring with us into the new year. You know, what lessons, what power, what plans we want to push ahead with. And I know that I have a lot of things that I'm very sad about for 2020, and a lot of things I'm really grateful for, and just trying to balance all of that is always a fascinating endeavor. So there will be a lot of that, I'm sure, over the course of this month. But mainly right now, I'm just like, how did we get here? Because it still feels like we're standing still back in March, but I know it's not March. But if someone from the future showed up and was like, oh yeah, we just added 100 and some odd days onto March in honor of what y'all went through in 2020, I wouldn't be surprised. So, but I hope that you're all doing well. I hope that your week is going pretty well. I've been really excited seeing the announcement that Elliot Page put up today, coming out as trans non-binary. Very, very excited for him/them, and aside from some truly just stunning turf bullshit, most of the reactions I've seen have been really wonderful and affirming, and that is always really nice to see. So, not that they watched the stream, but congratulations, Elliot. I'm very glad that you felt safe enough to come out and to, be able to live as authentically as the rest of us can. Elliot Page, they are one of the stars in the Umbrella Academy, and they starred in Juno with Michael Cera. That's probably where most people know them from. And also, they were the mutant in Days of Future Past who sends Wolverine back in time, and I'm blanking on that mutant's name, but anyway. Exactly today it got cold. It was 70 degrees yesterday and 41 degrees today. Yeah, that's Colorado style temperature shift, so don't worry, you'll make it through, I promise. Kitty Pryde, that was the character's name. Thank you. Anyway, we're here. It's December. It's dark as fuck outside. I'm worried about friends' mental health. I'm worried about how we're all going to make it through the winter. So let's exercise, because at least when we do that, we get to gather here in a community. I get these really bright lights on me, which I guess helps me pretend that I'm getting some sort of vitamin D. And we get to exercise, which is always good. I'm gonna be kind of mad today. I've decided that today is going to be an improv class. So even I don't know what's coming down the pipeline. It's just going to be whatever I decide to do. That's probably more exciting for me than it is for you. But for those of you who are new to the stream, welcome. Tuesdays are Perpetual Motion. So as the tagline says, it is the class where we never stop moving. So every time we finish a set, at the point where normally ending horn would go off and we'd get to stand around and drink our water and stuff like that. Now, when the ending horn goes off, we go into an active rest exercise. In this class, it's cross jacks. And so from the time that we start the warm-up to the time that we finish class, we will not stop moving the whole time. I also like to call this the half marathon of HIIT classes. So our goal is to keep moving for all of class. That's intense. That's intense, to be clear. If you're brand new, know that I only ask 3 things. I ask the bare minimum, which is comprised of 3 things for those who are brand new or still within their first month. I want you to focus on the bare minimum, which is starting on time, stopping on time, and doing the exercise correctly. All right? Just focus on those 3 things. You will get an amazing workout, and you won't traumatize yourself away from coming back, which is our goal. We want you to actually stick around long enough to get to know and like the class. And if you come into the first class and, just and then feel like death for the next week, it's less likely you'll come back. And that's not ideal for any of us. So, pre-class checklist. Hey, do you have your water? In a water bottle, in a mason jar, in a bunch of cups, in a bowl, whatever. We're in our homes, so there are plenty of things in your kitchen, I'm sure, that can hold water. So find one of them. You got your comfy clothes on, whatever that means to you. If it means, workout gear like I'm wearing, awesome. If it means a cotton shirt and a pair of swim trunks, awesome. Whatever you feel comfortable being in. You got your mat or your mat-sized space on the floor. And if you use a fitness wearable, let's turn them on now onto whatever high-intensity interval training setting you have. All right? Are you ready? Are you ready? We're kicking off December. And I feel like it's appropriate to kick off December with an improv class because who knows what the future holds, what the next year holds. I don't know. So let's just sink into the fact that we don't know what's going on and build something together. Martini glass. I love that. Yes. One of these days, I think whatever our first class is after New Year's, I'll make sure to have my water in a martini glass. I feel like that would be appropriate. All right, let's get going, my loves. So we kick off with our warm-up. Hiya! So if you're new, just know that this is the warm-up we do every time. And that makes it really nice and convenient and easy to learn because we do it every time. So on your mats, on your backs, 1 foot crossed over the opposite knee. Don't drop your phone on your face. I accidentally stopped the timer. Wow, we're doing a great job. Okay. Hey, good. Okay, the timer's going. And we start with rocks and bridges. Woo! It hasn't even been that scattered of a day, but wow, that was a hell of a way to start off our December. Oh my goodness. sometimes you just have to laugh at the silly spots. And, someday I'll figure out how to integrate a timer into a Twitch overlay so that we don't have to play this game with my phone each time. But today is not that day, and that's all right. I don't have to figure out every single tech question that I have right off the bat. Perfect is the enemy of good. I have to keep reminding myself of that. All right, switch feet. Look, a lot of times, the things that I talk to you all about are the things that I absolutely struggle with, And so we're going through this process together of learning how to break down this intense feeling that we're supposed to be perfect at things right off the bat, and that they're all supposed to be set up super quickly, and if we're not perfect right off the bat, then the thing is not worth doing. And it's just such a destructive mindset, but so many of us are trained that way, where we're trained to feel like if we don't get something right the first time, then what's the point of putting any effort into it? But nobody's perfect at anything that we try right off the bat. And, insisting on perfection is a completely unattainable standard, and B means that we will frequently convince ourselves to move away from experiences or opportunities that could have been really amazing and could have led us in a direction that we didn't even think was possible, just because we weren't able to master them according to whatever subjective definition we had going on in our heads right off the bat. So, it's hard. It's hard. I was talking with my parents yesterday, and this didn't happen in a vacuum. It's a tendency that both of my parents have, and most of my family has, and it is something that when there's that much weight of family expectation around it, it can be really hard to break through. And I know that there are several things that I am trying to get off the ground right now, and have been struggling with a lot. And part of it is that wall of awful concept that you hear a lot when people talk about ADHD blockages or anxiety and depression blockages. And part of it is that constant voice in my head saying, well, you don't want to do this until you know it's going to be perfect. And that's ridiculous, because of course it's not going to be perfect. It's something new. It's something new that I'm trying, that I have to learn, that I have to go through growing pains with. But if I sit around and wait to convince myself that it'll be perfect before I start, then I won't ever start. And same goes for exercise, same goes for everything in our lives. And it is hard to move through these barriers we put up for ourselves, and these barriers that frequently are put up for us by family, by society, and learning how to break that down, or at least start to break that down, is a long, long process. But we can do it. It's going to take longer than we want it to. But part of it is detaching ourselves from this assumption that we have to be really good at something the first time we try it, and remembering that even the people that we see who are really good at X thing absolutely had to learn it and had to spend hours and hours and months and years training before they got to that degree of skill. And if we don't ever start, then we guarantee that we're never going to get there. So, just a lot of things that I've been thinking about. You know, the new year tends to be that time when we all, you know, try and put this arbitrary date down and go, this is the time of our renewal. You know, this is when I'm finally going to do the thing that I've always wanted to do, and I'm going to start cold turkey. You know, we talk about quitting cold turkey, but there's a concept of starting cold turkey too. You know, to take it into the fitness realm, we look at people who make New Year's resolutions around exercise, around like, I'm gonna go to the gym. You know, they don't make a New Year's resolution around, I'm gonna find an activity that I enjoy or a class that I enjoy. So I'm going to try a bunch of things to find something that I enjoy, and then I'm going to try and build that out as an ongoing part of my life. We go, no, I'm gonna start running every day, or I'm gonna go to the gym 4 days a week, you know. And we start ourselves off with these unrealistic expectations of how easy it is to build into having exercise as that major component of our lives and doing an activity that many times a week and for that long. Let me tell you, you have to ramp up for anything. This is why we don't just, you know, throw 100-pound weights in people's hands and go, all right, go to town. You have to build up to that strength. You have to build up your stamina to be able to run a mile before you ever get anywhere close to running 13.1. And so we set up New Year's as this time to start cold turkey and just be like, yeah, I'm going to be doing this thing every day. And then we overwhelm ourselves almost immediately. And we probably, you know, to keep it in the fitness realm, we probably overtrain ourselves, given people, you know, whatever degree of fitness you're starting from. And then what happens? It doesn't stick. It doesn't stick in your life as something that you want to do or you find enjoyable or have happy memories of. And that doesn't help us, you know, but we have this assumption that we're supposed to be able to go into the new thing and to be able to do it perfectly, maintain it perfectly. And that's how that manifests in exercise a lot of the time, is this assumption that we're just going to start exercising and I'm just going to throw it into my life, you know, 4 or 5 days a week, and I'll just be able to maintain that. As opposed to, all right, how about I start, you know, with going for a walk once a week, and maybe once a week trying a new class or activity that I haven't tried before and seeing what I think of it. And if I enjoy it, then maybe I take it another time, or maybe I go, okay, let me try another thing, you know? But we don't give ourselves that time to build up towards what we are trying to bring about. And that makes it far more likely that we're just going to put those things down and say, nah, it's too hard, I don't like it, it's just not me, etc., etc., etc. And when it really was just that we were trying to shove ourselves into unrealistic expectations, and we weren't giving ourselves the opportunity to actually find something we enjoyed, but instead we're trying to force ourselves into something that we thought was what we should be doing. The number of times that I ended up with, gym memberships, 2-year gym memberships, uncancelable, because I did exactly that. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to get this gym membership and I'm going to start going to the gym. But I didn't really enjoy the experience of just going to the gym. And so it was not something I ever could stick with. So, yeah, I guess it comes to, there's so many factors, as with anything, there's so many factors that go into this. But, the two things that I hope for myself and for you are A, that we can all decouple ourselves from this insistence that only the things that we are immediately good at are worth sticking with. And 2, that we give ourselves the opportunity to grow towards a goal rather than expecting that we have to just hit it right out of the gate. So, you want to bring more fitness into your life. Awesome. That's a great thing to want to do. Don't start out by saying, okay, I'm going to go to the gym 4 days a week. Start out by saying, okay, let me try and take this class stream once a week. And just build up with that. And then once I've been doing that for a while, and once I can sort of look around and go, okay, cool, I have been able to maintain that for a while. Then I go, all right, maybe I add a second class stream in every week. Or maybe I add going for a hike once a week, or, getting my bicycle out, or all of these different things, and allowing ourselves to build towards a goal rather than try to careen towards it and then crash and burn out. Okay? So as we head through December, as we start thinking about this stuff more, I want you to keep reminding yourself of that, because I know it's something I struggle with, and I know that can be one of the biggest self-imposed barriers that we put up, is the assumption that we need to be perfect right off the bat. All right? So let's all do our best to care for ourselves and to be kinder to ourselves as we move through December and towards 2021. And let's definitely also remind ourselves that 2021 is going to contain a lot of the same challenges that 2020 has contained. All right, we're not leaving most of these things behind. We are carrying them forward. We're not leaving COVID behind. We're not leaving racial injustice and white supremacy behind. We're not leaving, our messed up political system behind. And we need to remember that we have to be ready for all of those things. All right. We are almost to the end of our warm-up. When that horn goes off, we will start doing our cross jacks, and I will demonstrate those. These puzzle pieces are driving me absolutely mad, but it's okay, because perfect is the enemy of good, and we know that. All right, up and cross jacks, okay? So very similar to our jumping jacks, but we're jumping our feet out and then bringing them in and crossing one foot in front of the other, out, in, switching which foot's in front. Same thing with the arms. If you want modifications, you can kick the feet forward and do the arms, or just jump side to side like that. Oh man. Oh, yeah. All right. A good warm-up, my friends. Oh my goodness. All right. So just make sure that you're still doing the cross jacks this whole time, okay? I know that I have stopped moving up here. That doesn't mean that you get to, okay? But also make sure you're still drinking water. So I generally recommend that you move your water bottle or water glass to somewhere where it's going to be in arm's reach from a standing position, because the cross jacks obviously are always a standing position, and you want to make sure you can get that water while standing and moving, since you don't get to sit down like this. All right? Okay, my friends, what shall we start with? You know, I haven't given you a guided AMRAP in a while, so let's start with that. So this is basically my Simon Says set, where there are going to be 3 exercises, and I will tell you when to move from exercise to exercise, and occasionally I'll have you get up and get back into your cross jacks, okay? So let's see here. I think I'm going to keep the exercises pretty simple. So let's have you do mountain climbers. So from a plank position, shoulders directly over wrists, and driving one knee at a time up towards your chest, not letting yourself push backwards or push your butt up into the air. So we got mountain climbers. Let's do flying chickens as our second one. So we're gonna have our thumbs at chest height. If you wear a bra, you can hook your thumbs behind your bra straps, and we jump. So jump the feet out in the air, but land them exactly where they started. Out in, out in, out in, out in, okay? And then third, let's just get down and do some TikToks. So from this pike position, arms straight, hands together. Extend just far enough that you can move the arms to the other side without bending at the elbows, and then back up and repeat over and over. All right, so everybody on your mats, you're still cross-jacking until I tell you otherwise. All right, so our timer's going. We're starting with our cross jacks, nice and relaxed. And we're gonna be doing this for 5 minutes, FYI. And let's go into those mountain climbers, okay? So we're starting out with the mountain climbers. Make sure that your shoulders are stable and engaged. That's gonna help keep you in that plank position. Keep your butt from
floating up into the air, all right? You want to maintain that plank, and you want to maintain shoulders directly over wrists. All right, now let's do some TikToks, my friends, TikToks. So up in that balance on your tailbone, okay? Make sure your core is engaged, because your core should be driving this motion, particularly when you are pulling back up into the pike. You should really feel the core, the lower abs, driving that, okay? All right, and now stand up, give me some flying chickens, my friends, some flying chickens for us. Again, there are very few exercises that I do not consider to be benefited by engaging your core. So, you know, this isn't a core focused exercise, but I do want to make sure that I'm not just sort of flinging my limbs in all different directions. So make sure that you are engaging and pulling things back together. All right, now go back into those cross jacks and just relax for me. Just relax for me. So every time you're in the cross jacks, you're bringing your heart rate down, you're bringing your breathing back down, okay? And just relaxing. And now I'm going to have you get back into those TikToks. Back into those TikToks, my friends, okay? Really focusing on that core engagement, all right? I'm going to keep reminding you, because you know that these are the easiest muscle groups to not actually activate and try and compensate with other areas, all right? So I want you to always be really conscious of, am I actually engaging, contracting those ab muscles? Okay? So check in on that always. All right, stand back up. Cross jacks again, please. Cross jacks again. But only for about 5 seconds. Now I want you to give me flying chickens, all right? So this is our fun cardio exercise for this particular guided AMRAP. Woo, woo, woo. Gotta love that fun cardio stuff. And we're flying through the air majestically. You don't have to be pulling your elbows like way up by your ears. Just have them come up to about shoulder height and just flap like that. All right. And now back to those mountain climbers, my friends. Back to those mountain climbers. So mountain climbers are an exercise that will tell us really quickly whether we need to strengthen our shoulders. Okay? So if you are not able to maintain this position while moving without slowly pushing like that, then you need to work on strengthening and stabilizing your shoulders, which is something that most of us can stand to work on. All right? All right, back to those TikToks, all right? Back to those TikToks. A little bit of TikToking fun. We're just rolling back and forth on the mat here. And you know what? That's fine. That's the beauty of Simon Says. You never know what is going to happen when, so you have to be ready for anything. Okay? This keeps us on our toes. This keeps our brains engaged with the process of exercising. All right, back to mountain climbers now. Back to mountain climbers. Yeah, and mountain climbers are frequently people's least favorite exercise. I know they were mine for a lot of years. Let me tell you, it's revolutionary when you finally do put that concerted work into strengthening and stabilizing your shoulders. They are our most unstable joints, so they need help. They need help. Speaking of things that are not perfect right off the bat. All right, stand up. Give me some cross jacks. Just some nice chill cross jacks, but not for too long, because what we are going to do now is we are going to finish out with flying chickens. All right, these last 20 seconds are going to flying chickens all the way. So I want you to push yourself for a little bit, just add a little bit more force, a little bit more speed in there. This is the end of this particular set. Yes, you do have to keep moving at the end of it, but you're going back into cross jacks. There we go. Nice. So you're back to cross jacks or whatever modification you need to do, okay? Sweet. Yes, yes, yes. Lots of fun. Lots of fun. Oh, man. I tell you, the thing that I hate about pandemic time the most
is this, risk assessment. There's no win risk assessment to be done anytime I want to do anything that's outside of my apartment. So my shoulder's been acting up a lot over the last month, and I really want to get back in to see my chiropractor, but she operates out of the Rock Gym. So going to her office is not just like going to her office, it's moving through the entire Rock Gym space and then being in her office and then having to move back out through that space. And it's, an indoor setting. She's got a very small office. So that's a really small enclosed space. And sure, I can go in there and we can both be masked up and all of that stuff, but it is absolutely a risk to be taking, and it's just so frustrating. I know you all feel this. I know that you all feel this, but it makes me so angry how poorly the government of the United States has handled this, and how they have just at every turn failed us, so that ordinary people are out here trying to do these terrible risk assessments instead of the government just being like, all right, let's pay people to stay home for a while so we can try and get this under control. And it's just mind-blowingly frustrated. And every time I come up against something like this, where I'm like, I'm literally doing calculus about, how much I need this other thing and how much I am willing to put myself at risk of either death or permanent disability. Frustrating, very frustrating. It's really annoying, my friends. So let's go back to, yes. Yep, yeah, they sure have. And the states aren't doing anything either, because, anyway, it's exercise time. So I'm going to make it up to you for having guided AMRAP. The next thing we're going to do, what do I want to do? Sorry, I stepped on something. What the heck? Next thing we're going to do is a free-spirited AMRAP, where I give you the 3 exercises, and then you guys get to cycle through them on your own time and at your own pace, all right? So let's do this. Let's do our wide leg squat to a turned knee. So we start in this wide leg position, very similar to the squat that we do in the warm-up, except we have to hold our knees safely over our feet. We don't get to have our hands on them. Our arms are extended out to each side, and I'm going to turn one knee in. So now I'm in a double bent leg lunge. Bring that hand to meet the other hand. Open back up to the other side. Open back up to the other side, and go back and forth like that. All right? Exercise number 2. Let's just do some push-ups. Let's have fun with push-ups, my friends. So, you can do planks, you can do from the knees, you can do half a wave, you can do a full wave. Just make sure shoulders directly over wrists, nice straight plank position, and keeping those elbows in right by the sides for each push-up. So you're really focusing the work on the triceps. And then our 3rd exercise, let's do bicycles. So we are going to lie on our backs, one knee up and towards the chest, the other leg extended but off the floor. And I'm gonna, before I pull my legs up, I'm gonna just show you. I'm going to contract my core so that it pulls my shoulders off the ground. And I'm going to reach one elbow to the opposite knee, and then switch sides and just go back and forth and back and forth. But the whole time, my core is what's keeping me up there, okay?
This is why I don't put my hands behind my head, because I don't want to be tempted to be pulling myself forward by the head. That's not what's driving us, okay? So the wide-legged squat with the knee turn, push-ups, and then bicycles. And we're gonna get that AMRAP timer going. So as soon as you hear that horn, you get to switch from your cross jacks to the exercises, all right? And yes, you get to control when you switch from exercise to exercise, but there's still a couple of requirements. One, you have to do all 3 exercises, so you do not get to skip over one because you don't like it, or to just do only one exercise the whole time because that's your favorite. You have to keep moving through all of them, and you have to keep moving full stop, all right? So we do not add any little rests in. Again, it's already perpetual motion class, so you already shouldn't be doing that. But if you're tempted to, you know, really slow down and I'm still moving, well, you know that you're not, and you know what I want, okay? So make sure that you are being honest with yourself. You know, this is one of the places where we start to build up that capacity to keep ourselves doing the thing that we want to be doing. You know, a lot of exercise and starting out programs like this and classes like this, a lot of it is neurological, and in many places it comes down to training our brains that yes, we can do this thing, even though you don't think that we can right off the bat, okay? And so, you know, our brains are trying to look out for us, and we appreciate that, but they frequently will do that by trying to convince us that we're not able to do something, or that we're getting tired. Hey, halfway mark. We're getting tired and we should just lay off. You know, we don't really need to be moving the whole time. We can sneak that rest in. So a lot of our work in class is less about what our body can and can't do, and more about training our brain to be brave and to keep pushing, even when it's afraid that we're gonna use up too much energy and not be able to run away from that saber-toothed tiger that's clearly going to bust into our living room at any moment. Instead, training it that, you know what, we absolutely can do this thing. And when we show that to ourselves, when we show that to our brain, it's incredible. And our brain goes, holy crap, I can do this thing. And then we get this whole new burst of energy and excitement because our brain finally understands that we are capable of doing this thing, even though it seems really hard. So a lot of life in exercise and in other places is convincing our brains that we are actually capable humans, which can be an incredibly frustrating process. Yeah, it's it's a little annoying to think of how much time we have to spend training our brains to believe in us. Training our brains to believe in ourselves. You know, it's really annoying that we have to do that. But when we get to that place where our brains finally do believe in us, it's amazing how much that helps. All right, back to your active rest, whatever you're choosing. Whew. All right, we're doing great. So much fun. Make sure you're still drinking water, okay? Because that is a very important component of our class, is drinking water constantly. Woo, you can tell I'm thirsty today. I'm already halfway through this. That doesn't usually happen. Good job, me. Give myself a pat on the back for that. All right. What are we going to do next? Well, I'm just running through all sorts of different types of timers today. So let's go ahead and do a perpetual motion timer. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh. Crack. New egg. Okay. Let's do 45-second work intervals. All right, we're gonna have 3 exercises. We're gonna go through them 3 times each. So all that usual malarkey. Malarkey. Who uses that anymore, Blanche? Okay. So we're gonna do, the first 2 exercises are just 2 sides of the same exercise, which is lunge to the knee pull. So let's start this nice deep lunge, okay? And my arms are straight forward, and then I step up onto the front leg, pulling my elbows back, balance, and then back to that lunge, and forward, and back, and forward. And then we go and do the same thing on the second side, okay? And then our third exercise is going to be held front superhero. So I start on my stomach, legs and arms extended out. I just lift legs, arms, chest off the floor and hold. If you need to add a little bit of movement in, you can bend at the elbows, extend the arms behind you, bend at the elbows, extend them back in front of you, okay? So you can do that to help give you just a little bit of motion. And otherwise, just hold there. All right. So let's get on our mats. And remember, you're still cross-jacking. So we are here until we hear that horn. And then we go immediately into the exercise. This really requires your core, okay? Because we're going through a lot of positions. So there's a lot of movement. We're going up into a balance and then back down into that lunge. So make sure that your core is working, that you feel it engaged, pulling that knee up and helping you to control your weight throughout the movement. Because when we're moving around like this, we are in much more likely of a position to lose our balance and fall over, right? Obviously, because we're moving around. So our core helps to stabilize some of the moving parts so that I don't need to worry about my torso going in a direction that I don't expect it to go. So I can focus on pulling that knee up in a predictable arc. Okay? All right. And now for that front superhero, I definitely like to add the arm movement in. It just helps to keep my brain a little bit more engaged. I've got my glutes engaged, helping me to pull those legs up off the floor. Obviously, my abs are engaged, pulling my chest up off the floor, and I'm breathing. Make sure you're breathing, okay? So you're not trying to hold your breath while you hold the position. All right. Second time around. Yeah. So whenever we come through to our second time, we check in on our form, all right? Because we want to make sure that our form is just as good when we get to our second and third sets as it was when we did our first one, all right? So make sure that you are absolutely checking in with your form each time you start, all right? Is my core still engaged? Am I controlling my weight as I move through space? Am I feeling a lot of balance wobbles? Maybe I need to slow down. Maybe I'm trying to move too quickly before I've built up to that degree of balance and stability. Again, trying to make sure that we are not trying to dive in the deep end and expect ourselves to be able to do this perfectly and super fast and super strong and super confidently when we've never done it before. There is nothing wrong, and in fact everything right, with taking a new exercise slowly and taking it step by step, one chunk at a time. All right, can I do this lunge? Yes, I can. Cool. Can I lift that knee up? Yes. Can I hold in that balance for a second? Ooh, it's a little wobbly, you know? Take it one step at a time and make sure that you can do all the component parts, because form, that's our foundation. That is the basis on which we do everything else. And if we give ourselves a strong foundation, then we're going to be able to keep working out for, you know, as long as we want to. And it's amazing the positive impact that exercise has for us on all of our systems, the ones that we can see, you know, our muscular systems, and the ones that we don't even realize are running right now. So our hormonal systems and our cardiovascular system, all of this stuff. And, you know, there is plenty of research that has been done and more being done all the time on how, even if you are a 70-year-old who has never really exercised and you start a program, the benefits that you will see are immense, absolutely immense. And the sooner that we start that work, the more benefits we will get to realize from it. And so, you know, we want to be able to be moving for as much of our lives as possible. So take the time now to build that foundation, all right? And to get yourself to a place where you can really feel strong and confident in the exercises, and you are then able to more easily grasp new movements and exercises because you have that foundation. All right? These are the important things to focus on. All right. Back up and back into your cross jacks. Woo! All right. Who has the name Blanche anymore? Nobody. One woman I went to college with. We were in the same dance company together, and it was the first time in either of our lives that we'd had the experience of somebody saying our name and not meaning us. And I think I can speak for both of us when I say we hated it. It is really disconcerting. I don't know how people with more common names do that, because it was really weird. All right. How are we doing, my friends? How are we doing? I'm feeling pretty good. Shoulder stuff aside, I'm feeling pretty strong and happy, and that's a good thing. All right. Let's see here. We are going to do another perpetual motion, 30-second work intervals, and I believe that I'm going to give you 2 exercises and have you cycle between them. So it's almost a cardio tabata, except it's perpetual motion. Hooray! So not really a cardio tabata. Okay, let's see here. Puzzle pieces. Why you gotta make my life hell. Okay. Just make sure I have a sense of the amount of time. Yes, I do. Okay, so your 2 exercises, they're both going to be jumpy ones, but jumpy ones that we can maintain, okay? I need to shove some of the controlled chaos just out of frame, a little further out of frame. So we're going to start with turtle jumps. All right, so we roll up onto the shoulders, then up onto the feet. If you are not able to get up onto your feet using that momentum, there are a couple of modifications you can do. You can push yourself up with a hand, or you can sort of tuck one foot under the other knee and roll over it and then come to that standing position. I want you to work towards being able to use the momentum just because it makes the whole exercise easier. Each time you do one of the modifications, you're stopping that momentum, and then you have to get back into it to finish the exercise. But if you need the modifications, they're absolutely there, okay? And you're just rocking and jump, and rock and jump, etc., etc. And then the other exercise is going to be side-to-side mat jump. So starting on one side of your mat, so if I'm on the left side of my mat, I'm standing on my left foot. It's in front. I've crossed my other foot behind me. All of my weight's on the front foot, and that's where the power for the jump is coming from. And I'm going to jump all the way across the mat. I can put a hand down for balance only, not to put weight on. And then back and forth and back and forth. All right? So those are our 2 exercises. So everybody is cross-jacking away. As soon as you hear the horn, we will start doing our turtle jumps. Hiya. And you don't have to lift the arms up or do that victory clap that we do in the burpees. So I just keep my arms, I fling them behind me a little bit, add a little superhero flair to the position. And all right. And now we go to our side to side mat jump. Now this one requires all the spatial awareness you can muster, okay? Because we are working out in a space that we have not designed for exercise, most of us. You know, you are probably in your living room, and if you're like me, you've got board games, various electronics, sound systems, furniture, books, all that kind of stuff. And so when we start doing exercises that take up more space, we need to make sure that we are paying attention to what is around us, all right? And we need that spatial awareness in the gym too, you know, because you need to make sure that you're not running into the person over there doing Olympic deadlifts with, you know, huge amounts of weights on the bar. But it's also important here in this space because it's a space that's not designed for exercise, and so we need to know what's around us so that we're not running into things we don't expect to run into. All right, so just always be working on building that spatial awareness out for yourself. It is a really important component of all activities, basically, and the more that you concentrate on actively learning it, the more easily you will pick up new exercises, and the less likely that you will accidentally run into somebody while you're trying to do your giant side-to-side mat jumps, okay? So this means that when I do mine, I don't go the full distance that I could be going because I've got these bookcases over here, and if I was to jump all the way to the other side of the mat and then fling my foot behind me, suddenly I'm kicking over board games and wine bottles, and I don't want to be doing that. All right, so I have to, for myself, I just have to rein in the amount of distance I travel, and that's just something that I know for the space I'm working in. And it's different for me because I don't have the option of doing this exercise lengthwise in the room because I need to be facing the camera. So, you know, that's another thing that you can do when we have exercises like this that take up a little more space. Just change your orientation in the room, and that will frequently solve the problem. All right, my friends, you are just about done. Got to go back into those cross jacks as soon as that horn goes. But don't worry, we are moving into our final phase, and it's calf awareness. Huzzah! So keep doing those cross jacks. Grab a little bit of water, okay? I'm gonna grab a little bit of water. Ooh, I am thirsty. Dang. All right. And now we will round out class with a good old calf awareness sequence. So you're still cross-jacking, but as soon as you hear the timer, you'll just go and balance flat on one foot. So here we are. We are balancing flat on one foot. The other foot is raised off the floor. And So this is a good opportunity for us to bring our heart rate back under control, bring our breathing back under control. So really try to deepen your breathing. All right, if you're panting, try to take longer, slower breaths, and check in on the balance. So we want to be guiding any micro movements to maintain the balance. We want them coming from the foot and the ankle only, all right? So we need to make sure that we are engaging all of the stabilizing muscle groups that we can. So we, see, I lost it there for a second. So we start with our core, and that controls our torso, okay? Switch to the other side while I keep explaining this. That controls everything down to our hips, all right? And then when we engage the glute on the working leg, that ties this whole piece together, same as we engage the quads on the working leg. So basically, everything from the knee up is one solid weight rather than a bunch of disparate pieces that are prone to moving in whatever direction. So each time you switch back and forth, make sure that you check back in with all those muscle groups. Make sure they're still working so that by the time the ankle has to make little adjustments to maintain the balance, it's not trying to manage, 10 different disparate areas. It's just trying to manage one cohesive piece, okay? All right, we're gonna switch back to the first side and balance up on the ball of the foot. All right, so this is a much more intense balance. And while all of the same things that we talked about for the balance on the flat foot still apply, we recognize that we are trying to balance on a much smaller surface area, and so it is a lot harder to control. So it's much more likely that you'll be doing what I'm doing, and you'll be coming out of the position and resetting and trying to hold again. Each time you feel like you're going to fall out of the position though, instead of just falling, I want you to try and control the descent. So if I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I can hold this, try and control bringing the heel down and then reset and go back up, because that is still going to strengthen your quad. All right, other side, same thing. You will probably discover that one side is better or worse at balancing, especially in this much more off-kilter position. Also, be aware that if you are exercising on a thicker mat, so like I have the puzzle pieces, which are at least an inch thick, I think, of foam, that is going to have an impact on your ability to maintain the balance, because I'm not on a flat, stable surface. I am on a surface that moves under my feet, and so it's harder to maintain that stability. All right, when the timer goes off again, we go back to the first foot, and we're rocking back and forth, first up on the ball of the foot, then back on the heel. So we go up on the ball, back on the heel, up on the ball, back on the heel, up on the ball, back on the heel. And we just go back and forth between those two positions, okay? Check in on those stabilizing muscle groups, because yes, they are still important, all right? Especially the core, and it's easy to lose track of the core. We come over here, we start moving around, and we're like, I don't have the brain space to be thinking about the core here. I'm just trying to make sure I don't fall over. But as soon as you engage the core, and again, it starts doing that work to control all of these other components of your body, it makes the balance and the movement easier to maintain. All right, other side. Okay, so check in. Did that core engagement come with you? And I say this because frequently, for me, I accidentally leave my core engagement behind, okay? And then I'm like, why am I struggling so hard to maintain this balance? And then I go, oh, of course, it's because I am not engaging my core. And so my torso is just falling all over the place, and my ankle can't compensate for that. All right, so just check in, up on the ball, back on the heel. All right, when that timer goes off for the last time, we will be both feet on the floor. We rock back onto both heels, and we do not bring those toes down until the last timer. All right, so try to balance, and when you feel like you need to move, you can shift around and then try to balance again. Make sure you're engaging those core muscles, okay? Yeah, don't worry if you let your butt come out behind you a bit. We're not having to maintain a straight up and down position. In fact, letting the butt come behind you a little bit helps to give you some counterbalance. And try and hold the balance. Move when you need to. Just do not let those toes come down to the floor. It's really intense on your shins, I know. Don't worry, we're almost there. And then we stop. Woo! Oh, good job, my friends. Here, just flip over the top of your toes and get a little bit of a stretch along the top of the foot coming up into the shins there. All right, and on the other side, just to help counterbalance the flex that our toes were doing, okay? Oh my goodness. Woo. Good job, everybody. Good job. Woo. That felt good. That was a good class. Good kickoff to December. Man, I love it. Getting a little bit of a burst of energy in there, which is always our goal, obviously, for working out. But it's nice to start a new month off on a good note. And I love how perfectly it worked out that the first day of the month coincided with our first broadcast of the week. So let's drink some water, because man, I need it. There we go. Try not to drink water so quickly that you choke. That's not ideal. My friends. All right, we've made it to December. We've started out on a grand note with our exercise. And, we are doing an amazing job of building exercise in as a constant part of our weekly schedule and our weekly routine. And that's what I focus on. That is the thing that I think is great for everybody to focus on. This is a hard time of year. You see so many people, worrying about weight loss and overeating and, I need to work out as a way to earn all that food I want to eat. And, our country struggles with disordered eating so much. And a lot of times what that turns into is a lot of really awful fat phobia and fat shaming, and a lot of really terrible and destructive eating disorders. And it becomes particularly prevalent around the holidays, because all of our holidays, or at least the holidays around this time of year, are very much centered on food, So if you've been struggling with that, I want to remind you, and I am a
fairly lean human being, and I recognize that, and that, gives me a particular privilege in societal eyes, which is incredibly frustrating, but I have to acknowledge it's there. The fact of the matter is, your weight is not an automatic indicator of your health status, okay? Somebody who is heavier is not in any way automatically unhealthier. Someone who is lighter is not in any way automatically healthier, okay? And I see a lot of people out there, concern trolling folks, larger folks, and being like, oh, well, I'm just worried for your health. No, you're not, because I bet you never go up to the skinny person on the street and go, oh, I'm just worried for your health. You assume that they're healthy, and they could have, cholesterol through the charts, or be struggling with anorexia or any number of things, So I want you to remember that your body is awesome, okay? It can do insane things. It can move around. It can pick up heavy things. It can run away from bears or punch Nazis, Your body is absolutely incredible. And your weight is not an indicator of health or moral status or any of that bullshit that we try to brainwash people with. So just keep that in mind, especially in the holiday season. If that's something you're struggling with, remember that Fitness Mom says that your body is amazing, and if you can make it through this class, then you are fit. Full stop. All right? So, yeah, keep that in mind, especially if this is a harder time of year for you, and I know it is for many people. Many people struggle with food themselves, or have families that have bad relationships with food and with weight and with movement and all of that stuff. And I just want you to be proud of the fact that you came here and you did an hour-long class, a really hard class, and you crushed it. All right? You crushed it. So good job. And now it's time for you to relax and enjoy the fruits of your exercise, i.e. the rest of your evening. There are 3 more classes this week. So tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Mountain Time, all my times are Mountain Time, we have Jump Around, our weekly cardio class. Then on Friday at 6 p.m. we have Functional Home Fitness, where we do weight training using objects you can find around the house. And then on Saturday at 9 a.m. We have the weekend kickoff, which is our awesome strength and stamina focused body weight class. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All of those handles will be in my end cards, but they are all variations on Blanche Case Fitness. My YouTube channel, Blanche Case Fitness, is where I put all of the VODs from these streams. I'm also going to be putting a lot of supplemental material up there. I promised my therapist that I'd get 1 video up this week, so we'll have at least 1 new video going up there that's not just a stream VOD, so definitely head over there and subscribe. If you want to help support me financially in making these streams, I do have a coffee account, Blanche Case Fitness. Your donations are always very much appreciated. And if you want to help keep growing this channel and growing this community, as we head into these winter months and, could all use something to bring us all together, then follow this channel. Tell your friends, loved ones, coworkers, anyone looking for a good class. I stream 4 days a week, and I love to see people here having a good workout, having a good time in chat, and talking about the silly things and the serious things. So thank you for being here. Keep yourself safe. Keep yourself healthy. Please do what you can to quarantine. And if it is not possible for you to quarantine because you have a frontline job of some kind, I empathize. I understand. It sucks that we are putting you in that position. And let's keep fighting to make the world a better place. And let's go shower and have a good dinner, because that also just seems like a really great thing to do right now. All right, my loves. Have a good shower, a good celebratory shower, and I will see you back here again tomorrow. Mwah. Have a great night.